Hola, buenos dias, clase. Today is lesson 3. It is our block day. So our objective says I can label sentences and their grammatical use of the verb to be, and I can differentiate between the use of ser and estar while describing an animal. So our bell work, we're actually going to jump, and you're going to do. If you go follow this link, it's going to be on the second page, the PDF. It looks like it's been scanned in. Activity B, you're going to do numbers 1 through 8. So when you go to turn in, I actually do want you to write this down. You can do it in a Google sheet on a sheet of paper, but take a picture and send it to me because I want to see what you can remember from last year. This is looking at stem changing verbs. Okay, so I'll pull this up and I'll look at it here in just a minute. Everything else that we're going to do, we're going to look over our ser and estar notes back from Spanish 1, and what is the difference between them, and I do want you to jot down some notes on those. And then we're going to go through orally and do a review of deciding between which one is which. If we have time, we'll explain the assignment that we'll be working on Friday, but I'm not sure if we're going to have time for that or not. Okay, so what I just downloaded here, we're going to take a look at the bell work. So when you download it, it's going to come up like this. We already did those questions. So you're going to go to the second one, and you may have to go up here and flip it around so that you can read it a little bit better, and then maybe zoom in. So if you look at activity B, it says cambia a nosotros, which means you're going to take the nosotros form and write it in that form because right now it's in the yo form. So if you remember that we had those stem changing verbs, which means part of the stem of the word or the root is going to change when it's conjugated. Now, if you remember from Spanish 1, we had what we call boot verbs, meaning in the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, vosotros, and not the vosotros, the ellos, ellas, ustedes, kind of like in that boot form out of the 6-box chart, are going to change. So basically, empezar is an AR verb, and we want to get rid of this IE and just replace it with a regular E, okay? Because then we want to take out the stem change. So we would have empezamos ahora, empezamos. Okay, so you need to remember what is the root of the word, what does it end with, and how are we going to change it. So all of these, we have pierdo, quiero, siento, prefiero, vuelvo, puedo, and duermo. So you need to look at your old notes from Spanish 1 and decide how are we going to change these into the nosotros form. If you get stuck on these, let me know and I will send you the notes on these. It's a review from Spanish 1. So that's the first thing you need to do and send me a picture of. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at these ser versus estar notes. I'm going to give you a quick review from last year because that's what we're doing right now. Now, this is the stuff that we learned virtual learning. We did e-learning last year, so this should look familiar. You may already have the notes. If you can find the notes for this, then you don't need to rewrite it, but otherwise it would be a nice review to go through. So we have ser versus estar. They both mean to be. So you need to talk a little bit about the difference. So first of all, here are the conjugations in the second slide. So we have soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son for ser. For estar, we have estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. Now, if you remember doctor and place, we're going to go through and talk about the difference between them. I'm just going to do a quick review. So doctor is for ser. That means anything more permanent. Description, what they look like physically. Occupation, what they do every day at their job. Characteristics, like are they honest? Are they funny? Are they generous? Time of day, we always use es, la, or son las. Origin, where someone is from, you can't change where you're from, whether you like it or not. That is a permanent characteristic. And relationships are more long-term, more permanent states of being, like relationship with my husband, your mom, or she is your mother. You can't change that. Now, even with friendships, even though those can change, they're still considered more of a long-term thing. So this is when you'd use those conjugations of soy, eres, es, somos, soy, son. And they translate to am, is, and are. Now, here's some examples if you want to go through for each letter and see, but we're actually going to jump down to place for estar. So estar is the more temporary things, meaning they're changing. So the P is for position, like I am standing, I am sitting. Location, he is in the bathroom. Madrid is in Spain. Any type of location, like even saying the bathroom is next to the gym, the bathroom is probably not going to change because it's permanently built there. But the fact is that it's a location, and so we're going to use estar with it. An action like I am singing, I am taking notes. Now, this one we're actually going to learn in Spanish 2 this year, so we don't really know that one yet. Condition can be like I am sick or I'm doing well. And then lastly, we have emotion. I'm happy, I'm sad. We all know that our emotions can change, so it's definitely going to follow under Estar. So, again, same thing, you can kind of go through these slides if you want for a specific one, for position, a location, and it will give you examples for each, but I will let you do that on your own time. Those are the notes that we're going to be taking. The link is in the page for today. So those are our notes. Lastly, we're going to do a quick ball toss review. Now, you can't actually throw the ball because of everything that's going on with COVID, but you can do this on your own and follow along to see how well you know this stuff. Obviously, this is a little bit of an old date, but once this comes up, we'll take a look and you can kind of click through and it will give you one of the doctor or place acronyms and you have to decide which one's which. So what I suggest doing is putting it on presentation mode. So go view. Actually, it doesn't have the answer, so I don't think you can do it on your own. Actually, I know what you can do. You can present it on your own, do this, or go through them all. It doesn't have to be on presentation, I suppose, and it'll show up as a motion. Without looking at your notes, I want you to guess Sarah or Star, and then once that you've guessed in your head or out loud, then look over at your notes and check your answer. So for example, emotion is something that changes, that's temporary, so we'd say a star. Next one is position or location. Location can change. Position, standing up or sitting down, can also change. That's temporary. So we'd say Estar, and then you check your answers. So go ahead and work your way through the rest of these and see if you can fill in the acronym. Read each of these, decide if it's Sarah or Star. Actually, go ahead and work only up until slide 11 and 12. So I'll give you a minute. I'm going to pause the video, go all the way up. Actually, let's just go to slide 11. Once you have practice up until slide 11, I'll go through and give you the answers for 10 and 11. So I'm going to pause it. All right, so hopefully you went through and tried each of these on your own. We'll see how you did. So number 10 says the coach is angry. Our key thing here is angry, which is an emotion. So you should have said a star. 12, the girl is athletic. Keyword here is athletic. So if we were saying is here, we'd say la chica es atlética. It is a description of her, so that's going to be ser. 3, you guys are studious. Are would be our conjugation of one of our verbs, and studious is a description of a person, a characteristic about them, so that would fall under doctor, so that will be ser. My aunt is a lawyer, that's an occupation, that would be ser. The students are at the zoo. Keyword here, that conjugation is are, but at the zoo is talking about their location, and that can change, so we're going to use a star. Now 11, the man is a farmer. That is his occupation, so we're going to use ser. 12, the school is next to the park. Next to the park is talking about location, so we're going to use a star. 3, Chicago is in Illinois. Now, even though Chicago is not going to move outside of Illinois, the fact of the matter is we're still talking about location, so is would be está, which is a conjugation of a star. The students are from France. Keyword here, conjugation is are, but another important phrase is the word from, meaning there's their origin. That's where they're from, so we're going to use ser. Now, if it said the students are in France, that would be location, and that would be a star. And lastly, it is cloudy outside. That is talking about the condition of the weather, so that would be temporary, so that would be a star. All right, hopefully this made sense. Lots of practice really quick with ser versus a star. And as of right now, I don't think we're going to get to the animal assignment. That is probably something that we will start in class on Friday. Hope this makes sense. Reach out to me if you have any questions, chicos. Gracias.